So first of all, I try to be strict with the time because they gave me 10 minutes. And so I try to be more schematic in my presentation. Okay, it's necessary. First of all, thank you very much for inviting me to this conference. Yes, my family is a Catholic, but my father is Protestant, and so it's a strange situation in Spain because the diversity in my family is ecumenical, and so living in these two phases, how to share, how to living inside the home, and but my mother is Catholic, my father is Protestant, and now the moment I'm Catholic, my mother in this case. So now I'm going to introduce briefly, because I think it's very interesting that the presentation for today, three concepts, three aspects: interreligious dialogue, SDGs, and society, and how to combine these three. Not only in my background in Spain, more than that, because one of the different sides was, as you mentioned, that I'm professor of sociology at the university, and also I'm the General Secretary of Religious for Peace in Europe, and so for 4 years I focus more in this relationship about interreligious dialogue and SDGs. I think that it's very important for introduce all of you about what is the concept, and you understand well the role of and the importance that today my colleagues to share with you their experience in these fields. So let me. No, this is. Okay. Go. Hold that. It's here. Okay.
Please say next.
Okay. Okay. And so the moderator introduced he talked about the importance of religion in our society. And so, yes, as sociology for the background, I think it's important to understand the function of the religions in our society. This is not for discuss today because it's another meeting, but of course there are different and scientific person that to talk about the religious and interreligious dialogue is necessary in our society, especially in terms of cohesion, in terms of relationship, dialogue, avoid extremism, etc. But my first question it was how to the interreligious initiative can contribute, because I focus more in the harmonious societies in terms of we cannot talk about the happiness, but yes, the happiness is part of the harmonious society. And so my first question it was how the interreligious dialogue, the interreligious initiative can contribute this to produce more harmonious society, more cohesion, and thank you. And the first I used in 2019, yes, when I started this, I did a study about the SDGs relationship with the interreligious dialogue, and I used the SDG because the SDGs is a good guidelines for clarify the mission, the action of what their interreligious dialogue are doing in our world day. And the interreligious dialogue is usually not to do the action between they want to cover some SDGs, specific SDGs, because it's not to moving for this measure. It's not for the fashion, it's not for the measure. It could make middle in that. But on the other side, it's interesting to classify and to reflect about what they are doing in terms of they cover or not all the SDGs, in which SDG will cover than another, especially because I think that one of the more important points that we need is establish a SDGs map in different fields, not only in the interreligious dialogue field, because if we don't have the SDGs map, we don't know exactly what they're doing, the people, and what is the evolution of that. And so it was my first thinking. And so as interreligious dialogue movement and interreligious dialogue, we need to create this SDG map. And today I'm going to show you about it. And so before we begin, And so I think that this map is a good tool for designing strategies and roadmaps, especially for the scientific, for the administration, and itself for the communities itself, for understanding well what they are doing. Next, please. And so this result, I can to emphasize that this is ending in almost 5 years old. And so I encourage that other people or foundation want to continue with this study. I think it's very interesting because now we have a picture 5 years ago, and now it would be interesting to have another picture and to looking for how is the progressing. And so I analyzed total 420 international organizations. I took international organizations that establish more working in one countries. Yeah, there are international organizations, the national organization. Yeah, and so we focus in international organization. So I'm looking for especially what are they interesting, what is the action, what is the target, because sometimes it's not the same. The next is the goals, because it describes why they are doing this and how they do, and especially also, of course, the typology of the interreligious dialogue, because there are different typologies of members that promote interreligious dialogue. And there are dialogues, interreligious dialogue for Abrahamic dialogue, for karmic dialogue, and for promoting NGOs. Next, please. And so the first result, and very important, is that every SDGs is covered by the interreligious organization. There are no SDGs that are not covered for any one organization around the world. And this is very important because it's the first reflection that if one organization can cover one SDG, all the organization can cover this SDG or all the SDGs. It's not incompatible to cover some SDGs for the interreligious dialogue. This is the first important. So the next. This is the map, okay? This is the SDGs map. This is what they cover more in this case. As you see in the app, the SDG that is going more is the 16, of course. There's the peace, justice, and the attitude, because it's the ADN of the organization. And so this is proper. The interreligious dialogue without peace, justice, the focus on that does not exist. And so this is, it's usually that currently that the people are involved and engaged more in the actions in this perspective, but it's not unique. There are none. Of course, the 11, more the sustainability in our cities, and the 4, the education. Yeah, and you see that there are two figures, two numbers, because one is the goals and another is the action. Because this is more complex that I show you, but the goals maybe is only in the long terms, and the action is more in the middle, and so they are combined within. But this is forward. The next, please. So the first is that I don't see that belong there. That the SDG 16 is more important in all the interreligious dialogue because it promotes inclusivity, the justice, and the freedom. Without it's necessary justice for to establish the dialogue between equals. It was not equal, the domination. Domination to the other is not the equal, and so it's not the freedom of this dialogue. And so it's in the interreligious dialogue to need that the people to talk face to face or in equal conditions. Yeah, and so how I use it? I collect different items and target improvement dialogue, etc. Analysis interest, violence, conflicts. This is what I classified. Yes. This is the SDG list. The list addressed the SDG, and especially the SDG 7 for clean energy, the 12 responsible consumption and production, and 14 the life below water. Maybe in another session we can talk why the life below water is the less covered, but it's on to thinking that the water below water is not accessible for the interreligious dialogue because we are rooted more in the earth and less in the inside the water, and so this is the least SDG that they covered. Well, if I put together, because all these SDGs are connecting, as we know, there are subcategories, of course, all is the society, the measuring, less the economy, and less the SDG 17, okay, and the next. So there are more SDGs that covered, but not depend of the GDP, because sometimes people say, because the SDG is only for the rich countries. The next, please. No, 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 it's not that. And so I looking for. Yeah, no, it's not for it. It's not depend of the is one country is more rich or not. Is covered the same. Sometimes the difference is the form of the manner, because some the more rich to promote more encounters and the less trained to provoke more training courses, and so it's the way, but not as the SDG cover. The next, please. So after that, I see that the SDG also, there are application proposals like opportunities to encounter, action between entities, and start a new organization, because sometimes it's covered. And sometimes some SDGs are sharing between some religions and another is not sharing. And so it's very important, but to understand and to promote, maybe or no, but what happened. The next, please. This is, for example, because is a natural way sometimes, but sometimes it's not natural way. I participate in one study about SDG. One SDG is not a natural way. Some people, the religious community say, but I don't know nothing about this, and so that, and sometimes depend on the SDGs and to produce a more reject to participate. So that is important that I classify the different SDGs, but not only the religious community are involved in the promotion, the SDGs and interreligious dialogue. There are also NGOs, informal governmentals, administration, it's promoted. And so this is very important. Also the institution of investigation, yes, universities, because this is not only the responsibility to promote the interreligious dialogue in terms of SDG is only for the religious community, also all the society, because why not the administration? In our case in Spain, there are office for interreligious dialogue that promote that there are encounters. And this is one of the way that strange more the message that the religious community itself to claim or to share with another. It's only 3 slides. And so now the promoting interreligious dialogue is a shared responsibility, yeah, because it's very important for our society different section. This is why our project, or the Erasmus Plus project, is focused on that, promoting this. Not and the other hand, the people don't have one hand. No, I am journalist, but I know faith. I'm only a professor of the university, but I don't know faith. Because sometimes it's sharing. There are more than one hand. And so why not to combine this? The next, please. And one of the this project that is the Erasmus project that we worked with 5 universities with difference. The major university, there are 3 of them are from Europe. Albania is from Europe, and all there are Albania, and there are Austria, there are Spain, Malaysia, and also Malaysia is involved in this project, because this not only we have to focus only the interreligious approach, but also the intercultural approach, because it's important. There are people from different faiths, yes, but our main is to create first this network, not interreligious dialogue only, also intercultural dialogue, yeah, because in our this facing global challenge is to focus more on that. And this is the last. And also to create, for example, we established an open Friends of Erasmus, open network, but people to want to promote, to follow, and to encourage in this perspective. We are creating an interreligious education and contents for teachers and for our society. The next and the last. So, for conclusion, first, knowing the map of SDG is vital for established priorities. The SDGs can to work as the roadmaps, and it's necessary for all society, and not only for individuals. So the second is all the SDGs will be uncovered for the Interreligious dialogue. So peace is a fundamental. The education is the key for society for transformation. That's why one of the reasons that a lot of Interreligious dialogue are promoting. And third, the sustainability is must to be in our hands because we are living in our city, and the sustainability we can incorporate in our daily life. And also, the SDGs is for strength the relationship, and one of them is the universities can to cover to promote the SDGs, the network, as this project of the Erasmus project as an example. Thank you very much.